Samson Educational Resources is pleased to present The Educated Classroom with Dr. Mark Crawford, a clinical psychologist, author, and popular speaker who practices in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. He received his PH.D. degree in clinical psychology from St. Louis University and completed his clinical training at the Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta. He's appeared on ABC's Good Morning America, World News This Morning, CNN Headline News, and other local and national programs. For several years, he was team psychologist for the Atlanta Hawks professional basketball team. In addition to a busy clinical practice, Dr. Crawford serves as consulting psychologist to several schools in the Atlanta area, working on-site with teachers, students, and parents. And now, here with fresh clinical insights for maximizing the well-being and learning experience of today's students, Dr. Mark Crawford.
All right, everybody. All set? Why don't we get started? Thank you. All right. Great. Thanks. I want to welcome you to the Educated Classroom. I'm Mark Crawford, and thanks for being here. And I want to especially welcome our viewing audience, wherever you may be. Whether you're a teacher, assistant teacher, parent, counselor, coach, administrator, this workshop is really for you. So we're happy to have you join us, or we're actually joining you, and we've got a lot to go over today. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been practicing for 26 years, and for about 40% of my week, I actually spend time in schools. I work directly with teachers, with administrators, with school counselors and psychologists, and of course students and parents. And we work together as a team, and my role is really to work with them to create the healthiest, most effective classroom environment that we can. And they've taught me a lot, hopefully I've taught them some, and we've really collaborated. So this series is an 8-session series. The first 6 of those sessions are really designed to provide teachers, administrators, educators with some information that can help create an environment where every student feels cared for, respected, understood, and given the maximum opportunity to learn to their potential. So, if you're viewing at home, you may be watching this in order to fulfill some continuing education credits. Now, I have to do that as well. For my license, I have to do a lot of CEUs. And if you're like me, you may look through the book and say, you know what, all this is kind of familiar to me. I've done that so many times. But for me, I feel like my time's well spent if one of 3 things happen. 1, if I learn something new, and I'm always open to that. As old as I am, it doesn't happen that much, but I'm still learning. But learning something new is certainly a good outcome. The second thing that might be a good outcome is if I hear something and it makes me think about what I already know a little bit differently. And that's happened a lot. So I'll have a topic that I thought I knew a lot about. I'll hear something and it'll just make me think about it a bit differently, and I'll use it a little bit differently. So I think that's a good outcome. And then the third thing is sometimes I'll go and it will just affirm that I'm on the right track. In other words, I'm operating based on the best science and best practice that's out there, and that's very validating and affirming. So today I hope that 1, 2, or all of those things may be true as we go into this series. Now, let me start this by saying, you'll hear this a lot. No matter what we're talking about, there's going to be some clarification of terms. What we find is that educators, psychologists, will sometimes refer to the same thing in 2 or 3 different terms, or we'll use different language. And it can get really confusing. It especially gets confusing for parents. So, what I'm talking about will be in this book, and frankly, a lot more than what I can talk about in the limited time we have will be in this book. So feel free to follow along, and it'll explain a lot of these concepts. So this workshop is really about taking what my clinical experience and the latest research has to show to really create what we want to call the educated classroom.